Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Wherever you are watching Speedway Nostalgia. I'm Josh,
I'm Caleb.
and we are bringing you the 2002 Pennsylvania 500, where probably one of the most epic crashes of 2002 happened, and really one of the most epic crashes is of that era. And we'll be talking about that here momentarily. But until then, we're looking forward to covering this race with you. We've got two great diecasts here today that we're featuring. First one,
Steve Park in the number 1 Pennsylvania car.
second one,
Bill Elliott in the number 9 Dodge.
and both of them came from.
Let's see here. Was it Circle B?
We got them both from Circle B Diecast. All right. One of their great auctions. We got both of these on auction at Circle B Diecast. Hashtag
Not sponsored.
yeah. But anywho, so both of these cars just awesome. Which I mean, back when Action was doing these, and then even now, I mean the detail. I know I go on and on about detail, but I mean even the tire tags still on there. I highly doubt you can see it, but
very cool car.
The tags on the tires are fully detailed. I've talked to you. Have I ever talked to you? I think I have, about the show I used to watch on QVC. I think I've even talked about it on here, for race fans only.
I think you have.
It was such a cool show. I mean, it would come on Friday nights, but it would literally get you pumped up for the race. And I guess that's why it was called for race fans only, because I mean, only if you love that show, you have to be diehard, because I mean, you're tuning in on a Thursday night or a Friday night just to watch QVC, eating popcorn, drinking a soda, watching the shopping channel. But sometimes they would have drivers on it and stuff like that. I think we need to cover that show for race fans only, because it was just so cool.
It sounds like a fun show.
They'd have them, on these little things, and they would be on the little spinner things, just spinning around. But, they would talk about them. They'd go into detail, kind of like we have on some of ours. But I absolutely loved watching for race fans only, and it was during this era when it was so big. But what was your favorite part about? Because you've talked about the Bill Elliott number 9 car a lot. What do you love that car so much for?
Well, I love the fact that it's all red.
Uh-huh.
I love seeing the red race cars on the track. I always thought that was cool, and that's why I love Dale Jr.'s paint scheme so much.
Uh-huh.
And when Chase Elliott did the throwback of this car, seeing
That
that
was sweet.
full red car with the 9, the way the 9 looked is really neat. But I don't know. I always loved Bill's car, and his scheme was really cool.
What I liked about his and Dale Jr.'s is they wasn't so busy. Now, don't get me wrong, some cars that are busy do look cool.
Yeah, but it's not just simple. Kind of you could see the sponsor on the side of it, and maybe it was the fact of the sponsor. I mean, the sponsor wasn't big, needed all the extra things on it, but yeah.
Which, of course, I mean, even Dale Jr., I mean, you take this car, paint it red, put an 8 on it, put Budweiser on it, man, that's what you got right here. I mean, I always liked the lines going down, and then in 2003, they upgraded a little bit. Instead of the wraparound lines, they changed it to an E, basically.
Yep.
And it was the E that went down, so that was pretty cool. But I've always enjoyed Bill Elliott's paint scheme, especially during this era. However, I thought it was super cool when Ray Evernham decided to buy a team, and he bought the number 9, and wanted to bring Bill Elliott on for it, which was super cool on his part. Bringing Bill Elliott back to that number 9.
Yes.
And everybody kind of knew Bill Elliott's career was kind of, on the downward slope. We're getting ready to land the plane here, and now let's end it the way we started it.
I love the fact of, like you said, he's back in the number 9. The 94 car was cool, the McDonald's paint scheme. We covered it. That was a cool car, but I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just that the way the Elliott tradition is, the 9 with all the Elliots. But yeah, I completely agree with you.
Well, this car is definitely going to stand out today at the Pennsylvania 500. Like I said, we're going to be covering live from, well, not live, I guess it's live for us. But in 2002, it wasn't live, and I didn't get the date on it, but that's okay. But I will say though that Bill Elliott is going for his 49th win on this race. He had 48 in the books, 11 of them coming from just the year 1985 alone.
Yeah, he had a strong year and that was when I feel like Elliott was just hot. Like that was when he was strong in his
Hot, but not hot enough because he had 11 wins, but he just did not have that championship that year, though.
Nope.
But that's the thing is, and you know, the championships could throw you for all kinds of loops back then. I mean, I know they say that you know the reason why they went to the different formats later on was because they wasn't exciting. But golly, I mean, 11 wins and no championship, or you take in 1998, the big battle between the back and forth with Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin, and going back and forth in the points. I mean, I think the points were just fine, but I mean, we're kind of seeing, yeah, I think we're going to see a little excitement this year. I really
Oh
do.
yeah, definitely. I love the chase we got going on.
Starting this race in the number 7 position, number 8 position, yet the rookie row, it was Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman starting 7th and 8th, two very, very young green rookies who actually Jimmy Johnson this year in his rookie year would actually lead the points for a little while, actually up until Talladega. In the fall. Jimmy Johnson was actually leading the points, but on the pole for this race,
Bill Elliott got the pole,
and knocking right there next door, you had Ricky Rudd, and this was the new Haviland paint scheme. I did not that Texaco Haviland Ford. I just did not like when they changed that. I loved the old 28, the black and red, that Davey Allison style. Like you know, when they put that car, they think of Davey Allison. Ricky Rudd, you know, when his career was winding down, he was with Robert Yates Racing. Yeah, he had that car, but then I guess they wanted to modernize it a little bit. But I did not like that new paint scheme for the 2002 season for the Haviland car. Don't say you.
I didn't really care for it much. I couldn't really get hooked onto it. It wasn't one of those big paint schemes that are like, "Oh, this thing is awesome."
Well, that's what's crazy in your era, you know, with what you watch now and what you see now. It was so different from when I was growing up because it's nothing to see a different paint scheme out there. Same driver, you know, 10 different paint schemes for a year where, I mean, you would see this every week. So growing up, and when they had a different paint scheme, it was special and it was big. And then you wanted to get your hands on them.
Yeah, I wish they still did that now. I mean, obviously, there's so many sponsors that a driver has, but I mean, it kind of takes the specialty away of having, something different on the car.
Well, this race is going to air on TNT. All right. This was when TNT had their partnership with NBC Sports. Well, I guess they still do. But in the booth, you got Alan Bestwick, Wally Dallenbach, and Benny Parsons. I actually really enjoyed them in the booth.
Yeah.
Back then, you know, right now, I mean, right now there's, you know, they don't really have a toss up. Everybody says, you know, when they air on Fox, it's just terrible. But then there's some that say when it's on NBC, it's just terrible. Back then, and me personally, I love the Prime Crew just because Dale Jr. is on it, and I think he brings a lot of coolness to it. But back then, though, it was actually a pretty good competition because I really liked the Fox crew, but I really liked the NBC crew, and especially you know the second half of the season. I know they switch back and forth sometimes, but that second half of the season, you knew you know, NASCAR on NBC and the Discover Car Countdown to Green was coming on. You'd hear Metallica's Fuel kick on.
Yeah, everything kind of was building up to that race to where you're just even more excited to watch.
When I've gone back and shown you some of these old races, what do you think about the coverage, especially pre-race? We've talked about it a lot, but what are your thoughts on catching some of the pre-race stuff?
Well, I loved it because I don't. That was probably one of the funnest parts of the entire race was pre-racing. They kind of give you the layout of the track, what kind of racing I guess to expect. Some of the drivers that have won there before, some of the drivers that are likely to win, in this race. And yeah, just everything kind of builds up to the race to come, and they interview some drivers. They show some drivers getting ready to go, and yeah, I love the coverage and the pre-race stuff.
On pit road, you have Bill Weber, Dave Burns, and Matt Yoakum. Again, I really enjoyed that crew. I love the NBC Sports crew on NASCAR races, but the Fox crew was great. This is going to be Bill Elliott's fourth pole of the season. So going into Pocono with 4 previous wins, his fourth pole of the season. And lap 1, it's going to go crazy right off the bat. Number 1, we're getting an early start. They're trying to start early because it had rained all day, and there was more rain that they were expected to come. So they were trying to get in as much as they could. So the race gets started really quick. Pre-race was really short, and on lap 1, they didn't waste no time.
No, I mean, for one, Bill Elliott didn't even get a good start. Ricky Rudd took the lead, but going on to the backstretch, they all kind of fan out. But what's funny is, as they come onto the backstretch, I don't know who said it, but they said so far everybody's playing nice. They're all they're kind of being respectful. Right when he says that, further back in the pack, that's when Dale Jr. and Steve Park tangled together, and it looked like Rusty Wallace come up on Steve Park.
Yes,
Rusty Wallace gets into the outside wall.
I've watched this race. Of course, when you watch the replay of this, and this is a very famous scene in NASCAR history, but going back and watching this, and you're actually watching the race, and I've actually went back and watched a few times this actual replay. So they're coming up on the backstretch of the Long Pond straightaway, and Steve Park is coming up high. So Steve Park actually has a run.
Yeah.
And Rusty Wallace, so we're going to pretend for a moment this is Rusty Wallace's car. Steve Park has a run, and he comes up, and he's coming to move on the outside. Steve, who I don't know if he was trying to block him or if he just didn't realize that Park had such a good run, but Rusty comes up across the nose, and Rusty goes into the wall while Steve Park, who is trying to check up and go this way, well, he takes a hard left, comes right across the nose of Dale Jr.'s car. And at that point, the slide job was on.
Yeah, they're kind of along for the ride after that. And Junior was hooked on the inside of Park's car. That just adds even more speed to Park going into the wall in the grass. But that was pretty crazy. I mean, I wouldn't with the grass being there, wrecks are going to be bad in the grass. But with Junior pushing him, and then
plus the grass was wet.
The grass was wet, him hitting the wall, and that was just.
What did you think when you saw him nail that inside barrier?
Well, just watching the wall give like that, and that wall did a great job of holding it.
Oh yeah, well the wall, and they had just started, putting these, and I forget what they're called, but they're basically just metal.
Mm-hmm.
Some you'd see on the railing of a bridge or something. But NASCAR was doing so much and giving so much different efforts in safety advances, ever since. From all the deaths, 3 deaths in 2000 and we talked about last week with Alan Petty and Kenny Irwin, and then later in the year, Tony Roper.
Yeah.
And then, with Dale Earnhardt in February of 2001, they were doing everything they could. And I actually got cracked up because, looking back, they kept referring to a new wall and the absorbing walls, as they kept calling them. And they're trying to come up with all these different words, which would become known as the safer barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, so this was in Pennsylvania, at Pocono, and the next week was going to be the first track at Indianapolis at the Brickyard where they implemented the safer barrier for the first time ever. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case in this race. But fortunately for Steve Park, they did go to that inside wall and that inner barrier where that thing just tore completely apart. Steve Park tumbles, does a full roll in the air, and you see Dale Jr. immediately jump out of his car, and he takes off in a dead run towards Steve Park's vehicle. Steve Park is upside down, literally trapped in the car, but he was okay. And the safety crew was there, and safety crew was trying to, they pulled Junior back, obviously, so they can do their job. I think they was kind of wanting Junior to go get in the ambulance from, looking at the different scenes and stuff. But Junior wasn't going nowhere until Steve Park got out of that car.
He was so concerned, and listening to some interviews he had, was really concerned because, the wreck would have been bad, but if it weren't for Junior getting under him and just hammering, he said he did everything he could to try to straighten out the car and get off of him. But there's nothing you can do. In that situation. But
at that point, they come out of the infield care center, and you can tell both drivers are shaken up. And Dale Jr., I think Dale Jr. was kind of dealing with, I'm sure I mean, we're just 1 year removed, a year and a half removed from 2001. So I'm sure, he had his own reasons of being shaken up. But
Yeah.
when you see your teammate, somebody that you spend, the week with and all this time with, and be in a situation like that, and it was off of your nose that he crashed.
Yeah.
But yeah, he actually, in a quote, he said, "I'm just glad Steve's all right." He said, "When he came across my nose, I knew it was going to be big." And but he said, I don't know how many times during that interview, but I'm just glad Steve's okay.
Yeah.
And then Steve Park, which Steve, and you could definitely tell he was shaken up, but his first words was, "Thank God I'm okay." And then he kept saying, "I just want to tell my mom and dad that I'm fine. I'm okay." And he kept repeating himself. Steve Park, his speech was always real messed up. Steve Park in 2000, I think it was 2000. I need to go back and look because it might have been 1999. But Steve Park actually suffered a really bad wreck, and it put him on the shelf for a while, and they didn't even know if he was going to make a return to NASCAR. And ever since then, I mean, when they interviewed him, his speech was real slow, and it was, he was trying to, you could tell he was thinking about what he was saying, but he just couldn't get it out, and it would be delayed.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I personally think that's why, that's what ended his career too early. I think he would have performed a lot better had it not been for that wreck early in his career. And personally, I also don't think, because it was going to be later in this year in 2002 where he would leave DEI and they would actually do a trade with Richard Childress Racing, and Jeff Green would leave the number 30 AOL car and come take over the number 1 pencil, and then Steve Park would go to RCR. And I personally, I don't think Dale Earnhardt, if he had still been alive and running that team, I don't think that move would have been made. I think he would have let Steve Park probably finish out his whole career there. I think Earnhardt probably would have coached him, but I don't think Earnhardt. I don't know. I don't think he would have really got rid of anybody. Quite frankly, I think he had his 3 guys.
Yeah.
And
no stick with him.
Well, and Earnhardt, just his attitude. I don't make bad decisions.
Yeah.
So he was going to make it work one way or the other. That's just my opinions. They were talking about the window net. They were trying to get that window net off, and Benny Parsons made a comment and talked about it. It was actually Richard Petty who created.
I had no idea that Petty had that idea to do that, which is really neat. I mean,
Do you remember the circumstances?
No, I don't.
So Richard Petty at Talladega, he got in a wreck, and his arm actually went flying out the window. So the next week, he shows up with a net over his window to keep all his body parts in the car. And NASCAR thought it was such a good idea, they implemented it in the following year. And I want to say it was actually, let me just do my little cheat code here. It was in 1970 when that happened. So 1970 was when the window nets were implemented in NASCAR. So the wall's got to be fixed. Can't race with no wall, even on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what happens. So,
well, they're going to be red flagged for an hour and 5 minutes, and it was during that red flag. They're interviewing a lot of the drivers, even back then. And I've said this a million times, but red flags wasn't boring.
No, I mean, you get your interviews with the drivers, and the drivers would sometimes be goofing off at their, if it was a long rain delay, I guess, or like I said, red flag. The drivers, they kind of had fun with it. It wasn't a just sit and wait for the race to go on so we can leave.
Well, one thing they discussed a lot during the red flag was all of the new safety changes NASCAR had been making. It was a lot of the drivers were actually bragging on a lot, which I thought was funny because the one person that didn't interview during that time, Tony Stewart. Tony was not happy about a lot of the changes that were being made. But Mike Helton, that's when it was during that red flag. Mike Helton had announced that they were actually initiating the safer barriers that next week at the Brickyard, so that would have been in August of 2002. They get back under green, and it's lap 10. So the first 9 laps, Ricky Rudd stays up front. Lap 10, and just a head of steam or something, I don't know. But Bill Elliott gets a huge run.
Then that was really cool because those guys in that booth were. And Elliott takes the lead, almost hits him. And yeah, he just kind of shot out of a rocket, which is kind of cool.
And when you go back and watch that, you're probably seeing it right now. Bill Elliott literally dives low. And when he dives low, I mean, it looked like he just turned the afterburners on.
Yeah, I mean, he just hammered it.
And shot right past him. And And then later on in the race, a few laps in, you're going to hear Benny Parson. They're going to talk about Ryan Newman not shifting, and they were thinking entering off, off of the front stretch in that first turn, right there onto Long Pond, that he was going to shift and he didn't. And I mean the tone of their voice, and they freak out because he didn't even shift.
Yeah,
And he's like, "Hey,
Benny
what?"
Carson go, what?
And then they kept watching him all race long. It actually ended up becoming a joke, because they would actually talk to Ryan Newman about it on lap 24. They actually had a conversation with Ryan on lap 24 because the rain was going to come and the race was going to stop yet again and be red flagged for over 2 hours for yet another rain delay.
Mhm.
So the race got started late due to rain. Steve Park decided to stop the race for a little while, and then caution came out for rain. Lap 24, they red flagged the race.
And what the one driver that was actually really smart in that was Joe Nemechek. He pitted to get fuel, and while all those other drivers were, pitting, that was going to put him back in the lead, I guess. Well, Morgan Shepherd.
He was going to go lap down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He was going to go lap down, and then, he kind of came on top of the deal. But
the only thing is, because they knew that they were so close to going a lap down, they went ahead and only did 2 tires. I think Joe could have actually competed really well during this race had he gotten the 4 tires. But obviously they were competing at that time. The yellow flag came out after he crossed the commitment line to go to pit road. So his pit stop was fair. It was safe. But him just trying to beat the cars, he only took 2 tires. But yeah, that was definitely one of the best moves of the race. And even after that, I mean, he was going to be in the lead for a little while after that too, and hold his own. But one car that stayed out, number 89, Morgan Shepherd, first time leading a race, a NASCAR Cup Series race since 1992. 10 years before, Morgan Shepherd is in the lead at the Pennsylvania 500.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to see that. I mean, I don't know hardly anything about Morgan Shepherd, but
he can skate.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he got the lead, and that was kind of cool to see that car leading.
So they're going to come back to yellow. They're going to lift the red flag after over 2 hours, and they're going to do their first set of pit stops. And this is where Bill Elliott lost the lead. His jack man is actually going to fall down.
Yeah, he was running around the front of the car, and you just kind of see him fall, and that Elliott fell back to 6th after that round.
And then the person who's going to start making his way up pretty quick is Sterling Marlin.
Yeah, Marlin and that was kind of the guy to, win the race. The rest of this race, I mean, he was up front leading laps, doing good and holding people off, and then towards the end, Elliott came back. But yeah, I mean, Marlin had a great race.
I do want to take notice right before the red flag dropped. They were sitting on pit road, and all of a sudden you hear the crowd just roaring.
Yeah.
And you see that red number 8 car being pushed back out onto the track. And the job they did on that car was unbelievable. They put a whole new nose on it, whole new front end. Dale Jr. actually, he said that, because later on they're showing in the garage all the parts that had been taken off and replaced. And they said, there's only one part missing here, and that's the nose of the car. Where's the nose at? And he said that he was keeping the nose, that he was going up in his shop, that he likes to keep his pieces. And Dale Jr. is super big. I mean, even to this day, he's got a lot of memorabilia, and a lot of them like to show up on the Dale Jr. download. So I'm asking Dale Jr., Dirty Mo Media, do you still have the nose of your car from the Pennsylvania 500 race?
I very much like to know that.
And if you do, I want to somehow see if you will showcase that, because that would be awesome to actually see that nose again after all these years. So at lap 54, Sterling Marlin is going to have a heck of a lead, over 7 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, Marlin, he ran away with it. And Elliott, I mean, Elliott had a great car, but Marlin is kind of the guy that was it, really.
You know, in the early 2000s, Marlin actually had some really good races, and I mean, Sterling Marlin was actually really fast in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and I didn't know that until watching these little races.
I remember it. I remember him always having a strong car. I mean, he would have won the 2002 Daytona 500 had he not got out and decided to start working on his car under the red flag.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
No, Marlin actually had some, you know, so like I said, some really fast race cars and did a lot of really fast racing in the early 2000s. One thing that NBC always did, NASCAR and NBC always did during this time is they would do their segments through the field.
Mm-hmm.
And you were going to get an update on everybody, no matter where I mean, they would go deep into the field.
I know.
You would even get an update on Robert Presley.
That's very true. And because they recognize the drivers. I mean, the Cup Series is like, I mean, that's your top series right there, and all the drivers that get in there at that time had to seriously earn it. Now they may not have had a great run in the Cup Series, but I mean, it's cool how they recognize them and kind of give an update on what they were doing and how their car was handled.
I thought through the field was really cool because I mean, they would literally get these reports from pit road and they would go through the field, and those pit reporters were running their tails off.
That was a busy job, I guarantee. I mean, you're getting all this information.
Mm-hmm.
You got about 15 seconds to give it.
Oh, those guys worked hard though.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. And actually, speaking of Robert Presley, who took Robert Presley's spot in the number 77 car?
Dave Blaney.
It was Dave Blaney, and he ran up front for a while.
Let's say Blaney was actually consistent in this race.
He ran in the top 5 for most of the day, and he was in the top 10 for a lot of the day.
Yeah.
And no, I thought Dave Blaney did really good in this race. But going back and watching the race, I thought it was kind of funny that he was the one who took Robert Presley's spot with our Robert Presley running joke, and then it was Dave Blaney who actually ended up taking that ride. One thing one of my cool camera angles that I always like, and you'll see it every now and then now, but used to they would do it a lot, but they would show the footwork.
Yeah.
And especially in those cars, that was some major footwork going on back
I mean, yeah, they're giving gas, they're clutching, they're using the brake. I mean, it's a job to drive those cars. I mean, it's not just sitting down driving. I mean, you are on the turn, you're off the gas, tap the brake, off the turn, you're hammering it down. I mean, it's kind of cool to watch.
They knew their road.
Oh no, that does not belong on the show.
A little hashtag of the movie 3 there. If y'all ever seen that, it came out, I want to say in 2004 or 2005. 3. Teresa Earnhardt, her first lunch with Dale Earnhardt.
Oh my goodness,
you know your road.
Fake accent, probably.
No thoughts. She was actually Mrs. Santa Claus on the Santa Claus franchise.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
So Teresa Earnhardt was Mrs. Santa Claus. Oh man! So Sterling Marlin, they're going to have their pit stops, and Marlin's Jackman is going to have an issue, and the jack didn't drop, and Marlin's going to lose a couple of seconds right there, and that's when you're going to start slowly, not for a while, but you're going to start seeing, Marlin's chances kind of run out, and that's they're going to have that caution, so Bill Elliott's going to stay right there on his tail. Bill Elliott running second, but during these pit stops, Dave Blaney takes the lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and holds the lead for a few laps. Now, while all this is going on, Jimmy Spencer gets caught speeding. And after he gets caught speeding, he's going to serve his penalty, which is pull on the pit road, do stop and go. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen while he serves? So he gets a penalty for speeding. What's going to happen when he goes to serve his penalty for speeding?
Well, he's going to leave that pit box, and he's going to get busted again for it. And then you see that car go down pit road again. And you can, the commentary in the booth, they're like, it's frustrating. They're like, man, I didn't speed. That's not my fault. And that second time, well, I mean, that's my fault. I mean, twice is pretty big. So
that would be, and that's got to be the complete drive of shame.
I know.
Second time.
I'm not gaining any fans right now.
Well, I'm not gaining any positions. I'm going laps down. at that point. On lap 104, Mike Skinner's going to run out of gas. He's going to try to coax it around as far as he can, and it's ultimately going to bring out the caution.
Yeah, third caution.
And then 30 to go, Jeff Burton's going to pass Elliott for second place.
Yeah.
And Burton starts the move on. Now, all this going on, Sterling Marlin still has the lead. Sterling Marlin still dominating the race. Without a doubt, Marlin had the dominant car all race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't argue that. But Jeff Burton, literally as soon as he goes to pass Elliott,
Mm-hmm.
the car starts wiggling. It starts moving around, and you can see that left front tire. Just that left side just starts kind of easing on over, and you knew what happened.
And that made such a huge deal. And Jeff Burton passes Elliott, and then you just he blows it down. It's those guys were so funny to listen to.
Oh yeah, and then right around that time, Gary Nadeau gets a flat tire, and he decides to go into the wall, which that was one of those
crash.
And that was one of those things too, because earlier in the race, he had not long earlier, he'd taken Jerry Mayfield out.
Yeah.
And then he turns around right after. So Burton gets a flat tire. Burton holds on to it. Jerry Nadeau gets a flat tire. He doesn't hold on to it. And with 19 to go, Elliott's going to start battling Sterling Marlin for the lead,
which was really fun to watch. I mean, that's when everybody was, even Bill Elliott, that late in his career. I mean, fans were still cheering him on, which was cool to see. But it was a great battle for sure.
And this was so neat to see in 2002, because every racetrack you'd go to, you knew if Dale Jr. was making a move or he was taking the lead, because that crowd would just erupt.
Oh yeah, which was crazy.
Hearing the fans do the same thing. But I mean, it was literally from the 80s through the 90s into 2000. Bill Elliott was always, he was the consistent most popular driver every year. 2001, it was Dale Earnhardt. He got it posthumously, but then beyond 2001, it was from 2002 on, it was Dale Jr.
Yep.
Every year. And then obviously we knew that Chase Elliott was ultimately going to take that. I mean, that's actually a pretty good scale to be on, that within the last, 40 years, there's been 4 popular drivers.
And yeah, that's I agree. That's really cool to see how that works.
And I think it's an era thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was the Bill Elliott era. It kind of started closing the door. You had your transition, and then it was the Dale Jr. era.
Yeah.
And now it's the Chase Elliott era.
And you got to wonder, like, what'll be like the next big thing to happen when it comes to that type of stuff. So,
which is kind of neat. Over the last 40 years, there's only been 2 names.
Earnhardt and Elliott.
That has been NASCAR's most popular drivers. Bill Elliott, he's gonna finally take the lead. He's gonna hold on to it, and then he is gonna turn the afterburners on. Sterling Marlin, for some reason, is gonna slowly start going backwards.
Yeah, Kurt Busch passed him for second, and that's just. I mean, the interview afterwards, he didn't really say much. He just
He said, and after, which we'll get to that here momentarily, but yeah, he actually did make a comment about the car. You obviously missed it. You wasn't paying attention. I'm probably using a bathroom or something.
No, I actually sat with you in the entire race.
Oh. Well, no, I got up to go one time.
Yeah, commercial.
But hey, back then though, you didn't want to go to the restroom. I mean, it was action packed back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You will never know how good it was being 15 years old, sitting in your bed at your house, watching NASCAR on your TV, eating popcorn. It was the best feeling. Even the commercials were great.
Yeah.
You've missed out on life. And for that, I'm sorry. I blame Brian Helton for changing NASCAR. He has ruined my son's life.
Yeah, I won't even say all that.
I mean, it's got really quick, really emotional, fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I just want what's best for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I appreciate that.
Bill Elliott's he's gonna take the checkered flag. He's gonna take the win, his 42nd career win, and he's gonna pull into victory lane. As he's pulling into victory lane, we're actually gonna get a cameo from a very young Chase Elliott.
Yeah, he's with his mom. They're making their way to victory lane. It's kind of cool to see Chase at the little races.
Bill Elliott, he's going to just talk about how good the car was. Your typical NASCAR interview at that time. They're going to interview Kurt Busch, and he was talking about a turnaround, and he said that this is a good spot this is a really good start for a turnaround.
Mhm.
They're going to talk to Sterling Marlin, and he's going to say on that long run, that last long run, the car just got really tight, and he just couldn't keep it low, and he couldn't keep it down in the corners, and the car just got tight. Dale Jarrett, he's going to say that we had a really good race car. He thought he claimed that he had a great race car, but he was just no match for the guys running up front with Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin, and even Kurt Busch there at the end. He said that they just didn't have it. Ryan Newman is going to finish in the top 5, and then right after him in 6, you're going to have Kevin Harvick. Tony Stewart's going to finish 7th. Matt Kenseth's going to finish 8th.
Terry Labonte 9th, and Ricky Rudd 10th.
And that wraps it up for this week. Y'all have a good one. Oh, I'm kidding. So, what was your take on it? I mean, definitely a very, very high octane first lap, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I think after that, everybody was like, "Oh, okay, that was unexpected."
Well, and you didn't see a whole lot of moves beyond that. I mean,
Well, I mean, they even said everybody's kind of playing nice, and then you just, I mean, they weren't really even racing aggressive. They just kind of just mistake.
I mean, and with the exception of Jerry Nadeau getting into Jeremy Mayfield, all the cautions came from either running out of gas or flat tires.
Yeah.
You didn't really see a whole lot of movement in the race. I honestly think, because I think during that red flag, everybody got out of their cars during that red flag. And I think they all watched the video. And I think they were all kind of shook up over that. I really did, because you just didn't see a whole lot of moving in that race, except Bill Elliott he was making nose dives and everything, but
he was on it.
he sure was. So what's your take on it? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle?
I'll give it a thumbs up, even though even though it was, rain delayed out, and, red flags took forever. I mean, the first lap was huge, and then watching Bill Elliott, you know, just stay consistent, and,
I know you're gonna give it a thumbs up just because Bill Elliott won.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
I'm gonna go thumbs in the middle because they do such a great job in the rain delays. So that's what saved it for me. The Steve Park crash, obviously, but I mean, from a fan standpoint, you want to see some pretty awesome crashes. But at the same time, I kind of know, when you know Steve Park's story and his outcome and his beginnings, it's one of those things where it was almost like, I wish it would have been somebody else, as bad as that sounds.
What's funny is Dale Jr. did not finish last. Like he finished 37th, and that car. I mean, I think he definitely didn't have the strong run of the race, but he was able to get out there and finish it. So.
Morgan Shepherd ended up not finishing the race. I think he just shut her down, but he did end up getting credited for 2 of those laps.
Yeah,
so that was kind of cool. But I'm still gonna go thumbs in the middle. It would get a thumbs down, but again, NASCAR back then and those announcers did so great during the rain delays and even the red flags. I think they did awesome. I think it was great seeing one of Bill's. He didn't have much left to give after this, but he was still competitive. He still went to victory lane again, even after this race. Steve Park would go on to slowly lose his hand and lose grip on that number 1 car.
Yep.
Overall, I think it was a good race. 2002 was an awesome season. It'll never beat 2001, but overall, let's say what'd you think of our coverage, and what'd you think of the actual race? What are your thoughts on Steve Park? Did Steve Park deserve to stay with DEI and still keep getting a chance, or do you think they made the right move? Also, do you think his career just got derailed from his crash a few years before? And Bill Elliott, what's your thoughts on him? I'm kind of curious on who all of our Bill Elliott fans are nowadays, being hindsight. Back then, I mean, you couldn't get nobody to say anything bad about. I mean, even now you can't get people to say anything bad about Bill Elliott. But NASCAR's most popular driver, with it looking back now, from that, if you're a millennial or if you're anything beyond millennial, what's your thoughts on Bill Elliott? I grew up in the Dale Jr. era, and I was a diehard Dale Jr. fan. But overall, I thought it was a great race. Thumbs in the middle for me, thumbs up for you. We're going to wrap this up, land the plane. I'm going to go get me something to eat and hopefully get me something to clear my sinuses. I've been mowing all day, and it is just kicking my butt. It's been, the last 2 days have just been terrible. I'm trying to get past it, but still here dedicating it, bring it to you. Hopefully I get more than 7 views this time, and this video and editing was worth it. So, but until we see you next time, you be good.
You be better.
And you be best. And we'll catch you on the next week on Speedway Nostalgia. We'll see you then.